Welcome to Flunking the Written, a fully spoiled Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast in which two Uber fans break down every episode of the show. Join Kimberly and Megan every other Tuesday as they overanalyze each scene and discuss the Buffyverse at large. Now let's meet up with the Scoobies and get into this episode of Flunking the Written.
What can I say? I flunked the written.
All right, Kim, it is time to get into our discussion of Lonely Heart, the second episode of Angel Ever. And the DVD blurb is another of Doyle's visions leads the newly formed Angel Investigations to a trendy bar where they face off against a worm-like demon who eviscerates its victims. It is also written by David Fury and directed by James A. Cartner. Somehow I forgot that line.
It's pretty accurate.
It spoils the demon without really spoiling the demon in a weird way. All right, well, we start with our broody boy doing what he does best, being a broody boy.
Of course, yes.
Just sitting in the dark, enjoying his broody self, having the time of his life when Doyle has to interrupt him. It's really quite rude.
Of course. Well, Doyle is needing him to invite Cordelia out.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know.
You couldn't possibly do that himself. It's Friday night, and they need to go out, and he's planting the seed. This is not a very subtle episode.
This episode is very, everyone's very, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is. I wrote it in my notes later. So
okay, we'll get to that. They're very later in the notes.
Yes, they're very later in the notes. I've got something to say. But I noticed it in the first scene in the bar, so we'll get to it soon.
We'll get there. So in Doyle's pitch, right, to go out, to toast the founding of Angel Investigations and to get Cordelia out at a bar, he says that, you got to get out into the world and involve yourself with people, right? That's that whole pitch from the first episode of Angel can't be too disconnected, otherwise he might lose himself to his bloodlust and blah this and blah that.
Yeah, we've already discussed that.
Yeah, this episode beats this over your head, though. There will be a phrase that is repeated 4 times throughout this episode.
But is it only 4? Are you sure? Because I think it's more. Did you count? I might have missed one.
I searched the exact wording of the phrase. There's other times where it's close, but the exact wording 4 times.
It feels like that it was
it's
more.
It's a lot.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
But yes, as they're discussing going out, Cordelia enters and she has business cards with some kind of shape on them that is hard to distinguish for our 2 gentlemen here.
Yeah, but it always looked like an angel to me.
It does.
Nobody else in this entire city can tell it's an angel, but I'm always like, that's an angel.
It's very obviously an angel.
So they're really excited about that. And about the time of that, Doyle has a vision. And he does the thing with the horrible migraine and everything. And the vision is of a nightclub. They think that they need to go to this nightclub, which is, I quote, a real meat market for the trendy hipster set.
Oh.
Yeah. So Angel's like, you got your wish. I guess we'll all go out. So they go to the club, and it is called The Oblique is the name of the club, I think. Mm-hmm. Which does seem very trendy for the early 2000s.
This bar. Before they arrive, though, we get the cutaway to the first conquest of the episode.
Yes.
Where you see a blonde girl and then a guy sits down and he's super obvious that he's just at skis. And it's just like, I hate places like this, that kind of stuff. The amount of weird,
cringe.
Well, not even the cheese and the cringe. I come to embrace the cheese and the cringe of season 1 of Angel. I am rather fond of it. Yeah.
This is not the good cringe.
But
this is the, oh, my eyes cringe.
But it is rough.
Or I guess this episode would be ears.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lines.
Yeah, there's a lot of lines.
And she falls for it.
Oh, yeah.
Really easy. Which kind of okay, so in the script, it describes her as dowdy and kind of plain. And then later on, Cordelia sees her and actually describes her as Sarah plain and tall. Mm-hmm. Okay, so all dowdy plain people are not stupid. And it makes it seem kind of like she's so unattractive that she immediately believes every line this guy gives her, even when he's coming on so strong and they're so corny and overused.
Oh, yeah.
And she just falls for it.
Yes.
And like, okay, just because you are not gorgeous does not mean that you are that either oblivious or desperate.
Yeah.
And I kind of don't like the way it does that.
But she's also dowdy, and she's also like in the way that they do like the teenage glam up, unattractive girl to the real pretty girl.
She's beautiful. But we're talking about
absolutely,
in a show.
Absolutely gorgeous. And then later she just puts on a little nicer top, and then she's supposed to actually be considered attractive at that point. I don't know. Like, it's just...
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you could take, like, the most beautiful girl in the world if you want to make her look plain for TV or movie or whatever. You just put her in a brown sweater, a ponytail, and glasses.
Yeah, that's how you convey. That's how you convey unattractive.
She's not... The actress playing her is not actually unattractive.
Yeah.
The character is supposed to be.
But I always just find it funny that they design these characters and then they just refuse to like actually cast anybody who's even slightly homely.
Yeah.
They're like, nah.
But anyway, okay, that's my little rant about that scene.
Well, my whole thing is like the misdirects, because of the way that this demon works where it bounces from body to body, the misdirects are so quick that it almost seems like they're not even worth it.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I had remembered what it was like to watch this one specifically for the first time, because like... You're never left questioning long enough, I think, to make you really start to theorize what's going on here.
You have to watch it multiple times to see. Like, but that happens in a lot of shows. Like, I rewatch Friends all the time because I'll be watching it, like, doing something or whatever, and I'll just turn it on and have it on the background. That's an incredibly problematic show.
Oh, yeah.
To watch in 2022. It wasn't, though, in 1997 or whenever. I graduated high school in 97, and it was on then, so I don't remember what year it started, but yeah.
Yeah, you don't really think of it as being a problematic show, and then you watch it, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, this is not, yeah.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, I feel like the pacing of this episode really bothers me, because it's slow in places, but it's also like the rapid fire of the way that the demon works means that you don't get to dwell in the mystery at all. Because I think basically you have the misdirect where you think it's the girl, and then it's immediately revealed what's actually going on. And then it's just, there's one later on where it's a misdirect that lasts literally seconds, and it's hilarious to me.
It's like everyone in this episode goes with their first assumption for everything.
Uh-huh.
And just continues that way. Yeah. Like Kate does. And it's just kind of, it's a whole lot of, why do you think that? Why are you doing, what is your motivation for what's happening here?
We have our Ken and Barbie conversation with this lovely couple here, and then eventually it pans over and we see Angel, Cordelia, and Doyle arrive at this bar. So we briefly touched on the bar itself, but I'm gonna take a moment right here to just talk about the amount of time that we are about to spend in this bar. It threw me for a loop. Because I was watching it, and I was just like, oh, this is kind of like, this is a fun setup. But, like, there's not been a lot of variety. And then I look down, and you're, like, a good 20 minutes in the episode, and you're like, oh, we're still just at this bar hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, this entire evening of them trying to figure out what on earth the vision is just the longest, most meandering thing.
I agree. This episode has, like, no direction.
So Angel suggests they split up, which means that Angel goes one direction and then Doyle follows Cordelia. That's how splitting up works. And Angel goes to the bar to talk to the bartender and asks if he's noticed anything unusual. And Eventually, as Angel stumbles over his words to try to get to what he's actually looking for, he's saying anything out of the ordinary, possibly even dangerous, and then the bartender says, "Don't worry, it's early yet. The real hot women don't mosey in until around 11." And this is further proof that I am not a real hot woman.
Yeah, because I'm asleep.
I'm in bed. And then Cordelia is just being the best marketing person ever over here.
Oh, yeah. She's just handing out the cards to everybody.
If you're in trouble, just call this number. We can help.
Hi. Being harassed by someone or something? Dial us up, day or night. Hey, you look troubled. Or is that just your lazy eye? Anyway, call us. We're very discreet.
Doyle warns her that that might be taken as vigilantism and they should be more careful. She wasn't really being very tactful. So very Cordelia.
Very Cordelia.
Then she says that she is an actress and knows people without talking to them. And that's when she starts looking at people and describing them and said, that one's a mama's boy, that one's self-absorbed. And then says, check out Sarah Plain and Tall. And says that she has money, and that's the only way that the Calvin Klein model she's leaving with would be interested in her, which we kind of already know because they've done the whole she's, homely and everything.
We've already had that. We've bounced around a lot already.
Yeah. Then we get to see Angel, who has a guy walking away from him, and Angel is like, I wasn't hitting on you. Seriously, I wasn't.
I feel like Angel's experience in the city so far is just interacting with guys who are
assume that he's gay.
Yeah, assuming that he's gay. That's just Angel's vibe for Los Angeles. Everybody's just automatically assuming. He does take a lot of time on his hair for someone who doesn't have a mirror.
Yeah, true.
Then we get introduced to a lovely blonde girl because Angel needs more of those in his life.
Yes, it's Kate. I remember being surprised the first time I watched this that she was a cop. So, she actually had me convinced she wasn't. Yeah.
I think that's a misdirect that's actually, the reveal that she's a cop works as far as things that this show just kind of this specific episode is just oh, it's this guy. No, it's this guy. Oh, it's this. And oh, it's that. This is the one that I think works well. I love this performance. I really would have liked a little bit more of Kate than we got. I don't know if we needed a lot more, but something to kind of round out her story a little bit better. But we'll I'm sure discuss Kate at length because she actually plays a pretty prominent role for a section of the show there.
Well, and then she kind of drops off the show.
Yeah, and there's a couple of characters that kind of do that throughout the run of Angel. Some more dramatically than others. There's a lot of, in the ensemble cast and the way that Angel kind of works, is that there's a lot of background characters that you can tell that the writers were kind of trying to figure out whether they wanted to blend them in to be more of a main cast member or if they just wanted to phase them out.
And then they just kind of disappear.
But yeah, this is Kate. She's at the bar talking about how it's kind of the worst, but what else is she going to do? She could just be at home alone. Who would want to do that? And Angel's just kind of talking about why he's there. And he's saying that he's just looking for someone to rescue and ask if maybe she's in need of some rescuing.
Yes. Very smooth.
Very good.
Kate in this episode, and I think we don't realize she's a cop because she does the desperate for a partner thing so well.
Yeah.
She talks about her sister having kids and she's, why can't she meet someone? And you can kind of tell she doesn't really trust Angel.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes no sense because I don't understand why she thinks the first person who hits on her is the one she's looking for, Because she automatically suspects Angel. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, well, it's you. And I'm like, why is the first person hitting on you the one you think is the killer?
Well, and it's weird because it seems like almost like a jealousy thing or a vendetta thing at first, and not that she actually legitimately suspects him. And it's not until later that it's revealed that she's a cop that you're just like, oh, she's been tracking him because she thinks that he's the killer. But is it confirmed that she's actually a lonely heart where she wants to be, she wants to find someone at the bar? Or is it that she's literally there because of the string of murders that's happened there?
Oh,
and
no,
that
I
she's
think
just
that's
scoping
why she's
it out.
there.
Yeah.
I think that's why she's there.
I wasn't sure if it ever really fully explained
but she plays
that.
it really well.
Yeah. But I think
And
it's also weird that this is clearly Angel's first night there. And so if she's already there investigating the string of murders, why would she be so suspicious of Angel?
Exactly.
Because this bar has a lot of regulars.
Enough regulars that the bartender knows, like, a lot of people.
Yeah.
So then we cut to Doyle and Cordelia again. And Cordelia's kind of asking him about the visions, and they talk about that for a minute or so. And then a guy comes over and has one of the cards until he's very drunk. It says in the script that he's the teensiest drunk, but I don't think that's accurate. I think he's very drunk. And he starts talking to Cordelia and hitting on her and everything. And Doyle's like, no. And Cordelia keeps telling him that she can handle it. And we find out the guy thinks that she is a hooker.
Mm-hmm.
And another guy comes up and he tells that guy that she's a hooker and Doyle's her pimp. And he kind of keeps going with it and everything. And like the only note that I have about this scene, this part of this scene in my notes, is that no is a complete sentence, even if you are a sex worker.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's all I have for that.
Absolutely.
Just because you're a sex worker doesn't mean that you have to do anything. And this guy's just like, hey, you're a hooker. I get to be with you. Pretty much zero evidence that she is, in fact, a sex worker. So yeah.
Well, and I want to go back to like the beginning of the episode and look at that card again. Because like I'm just like, in what way can you construe that card to mean like a calling card of that sort?
Yeah.
Like, do you think the angel's like a person flashing? Is that what he's interpreting this as? Because everybody apparently does not see an angel.
But why would a person flashing on a card being... Yeah, I don't get that either. Like an actual like card for a sex worker, if they even had one, would be like just a number.
Yeah.
It would be incredibly discreet.
Yeah.
You know?
So Doyle is there also trying to come to Cordelia's defense. Cordelia's not really having any of it. She's shutting him down as much as she's shutting the other guys down. Good for you, Cordelia. Stand on your own 2 feet. And we cut back to Angel and Kate again in the middle of the very sad soul reaches out to sad soul conversation that they're having.
Yeah, Kate's coming on very strong.
Yeah. And this is the beginning where, you know, Angel's still kind of... I don't know why Angel's so convinced that she's the one that he needs to talk to. But anyway, he just kind of keep asking her questions and says, you know, what are you looking for? And this is the first instance of the exact wordage that I searched. And she says, I guess I'm trying to make a connection. And that exact wording, make a connection, is in this episode 4 times, and I'm going to point it out every time it comes up.
See, and I feel like it's more than
It
that.
seems like it should be more, but I was just like, I'm going to search that. I'm going to pull up the transcript and search it, because this is just like, it's beaten into my brain by the end of it.
Yeah, everyone's trying to make a connection.
Make a connection. And Kate starts to get up some courage and asks if Angel would like to go someplace more quiet, which also like is weird if she's there investigating. Like I'm just
like, yeah,
I'm
what
not
is she
sure.
gonna do?
I'm not sure what Kate's strategy is here, or what like.
Does she think if she leaves with him, he's going to try to kill her?
Yeah,
I mean,
like maybe he's gonna attack her and like, but like, wouldn't he like? I don't know. It just seems like all over the place. But he says no, that he has to stay, and she's very offended. And then
she's like really hurt.
Yeah, like she's not. I mean, that is an attractive man. I get it, but still, like, you're on a job here, Kate. Is that not what we're doing here? I'm confused. And then we go to Doyle still trying to defend Cordelia's honor, and the guys are just not taking no for an answer at all. And eventually, Doyle just decides to throw some punches. The bartender comes in during this bar fight, so apparently the bartender is also acting as the bouncer.
Yeah, that's
and
not
maybe
really a thing in a big club like this.
Maybe the
LA.
only employee. I'm pretty sure that this bartender just is the sole owner and operator of this entire bar at this point.
Well, I mean, he's the only one we ever see. It makes no sense.
But anyway, they're throwing down. Angel comes and basically just puts the guys in their places. They end up on the floor. The bartender tells them that they have to get out every night. It's something with them. And then a girl walks up and asks, "Oh, are you okay?" And Doyle's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Clearly, like, holding his head, all injured from the bar fight. And Angel's just standing there being that attractive hunk of angel he is. And she just completely walks past Doyle and goes straight to Angel. And very quickly, we get our second make a connection when she says, "It's wild. Us meeting over a bar fight. Isn't it great when two people make a connection?"
Yeah. There is a very different conversation in the script.
Okay.
She does the "wow, are you okay" thing, and Doyle starts to answer and then realizes that she's talking to Angel, and him and Cordelia walk off, and she says, "I'm sorry about my brother and his friend. I can't believe they started another fight. That's all I need." And Angel looks at her and says, "What do you mean? Are you in trouble?" And she looks at him and goes, "How did you know?" And Angel kind of acts surprised, and then she says, "I know it's crazy, but I've decided to go ahead and have it." And Angel says, "Have it?" And she says, "The baby. My parents have been great about the whole thing. They said they'd help out." And then we see Kate looking at them, getting kind of upset. And so we go back to what was in the show.
Wow.
Oh, wait. Sorry. There's another part. As Kate leaves and Angel sees her, the girl also says, "Of course, this is going to set my singing career back a little, but then think of all the material I'll have for new songs."
Ah.
Yeah, and then we go to the homely girl's bedroom.
What a change they decided to make there.
Yeah, it was odd, right? It has nothing to do with the script or anything, which I guess is why they took it out.
Yeah.
But just so you know, in the script, the homely girl's name is Sharon, and the guy that she's with name is Kevin.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So we can actually start calling them by their names.
All right. Well, we're at Sharons Place, I guess. Is this Sharons Place? It doesn't actually.
Yeah, it doesn't say. Oh, I don't know.
We're at one of their places. And Sharon's talking about how it's late and that she should probably go. And it's just kind of like
they just had a very awkward experience.
Not the best. Not the best night of their lives. And she starts to get up to leave, and he grabs her and says, "If you have to leave, I understand, but I would just like to hold you." And then he wraps his arms around her, and they just kind of lay down again, very awkwardly.
Yeah. I'd be like, "No, I'm good.
I'm good. I just gotta go."
Yeah.
And then we're back at the bar because we haven't spent enough time at this bar yet.
Yeah.
And it is the end of the night.
Had this one night stand quick.
Yeah. It is the end of the night. The hot girls have come and gone at this point.
Oh, yes. They've already left with people.
And Angel's trying to figure out what Doyle's vision meant. He says, I can't imagine it was that we were supposed to come here to break up a bar fight. And I'm just like, yeah, especially one that y'all were part of starting.
That started, yeah. Because doesn't Doyle throw the first punch?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does.
Yeah. And then Angel says, could either of you sense that anybody here tonight needed help? And Cordelia has the best line because she replies, "Yeah, everybody." And,
I would like to say that Angel has the best line, which is, "This socializing thing is brutal."
Yeah, that's awesome too. Very good, couple very good lines in this scene.
Yes. So the chemistry for the main three has not really fully formed at this point, but this is starting out. Like, you can kind of see some hints. There's definitely some awkwardness in some of the other scenes and some editing choices that I wish were tighter. But like this little back and forth, I kind of enjoy. Until we get to the point where Cordelia just has to do that info dump that they keep trying to work into the dialogue. And I was really proud in the first episode because they kept working like lore and info dumps into dialogue in ways that was really organic and made sense. But like here, Cordelia's just like, "Oh yeah, and remember that if you like sleep with anybody and have a moment of happiness, that you're gonna go psycho."
Yeah, because it has to get said.
Yeah, it has to get said. And you have Cordelia there as your ultimate scapegoat for the things that just have to be said that people are usually not blunt enough to just say.
Yeah.
But it is still like one of those like, But yes, the bartender says that they got to go home, and they depart as Cordelia is pointing out all of this to Angel, that he needs to watch himself because she doesn't want to show up to work for a homicidal monster, which I agree with. And then we get a quick flash of Sharon looking much more sure of herself as Kevin lies dead on the bed. So there you go. That's what happened there. Oh, the mystery. I do like the body hopping trope that happens in this, like the way that the killer works of like transferring from body to body. I think it's an interesting way of doing this misdirect. I feel like there could have been ways to string it out just a little bit longer that would have been even more fun. I think it would have been more fun if it took longer for Angel and the crew to figure it out.
And if they had figured it out quickly.
Yeah, the audience figuring it out early, you kind of have to do because it's gonna have to hop again. And then you're gonna be like, okay, what's going on here? Though you could do, I guess, one more misdirect where you think it's gonna be Sharon and then Sharon ends up dead without revealing what's actually happening. And have that be a mystery of just like, okay, I'm confused. I think that's what you really needed. Just one more like moment for the audience to go, what? We're back at Angel Investigations. They're researching. They're study mode. Cordelia's at the computer. She does not know how to use a computer. I don't know who gave her that job.
Well, and kind of like, what are we researching?
Yeah.
They don't really know anything at all, except that someone at that bar needed help.
Yes.
I mean, they find out that there's been like 2 missing people from the bar, but like they just kind of stumble onto that information accidentally.
Yeah. They search the bar on the computer and they get 2 hits and they just happen to be like people missing around the bar. And then you're just like, okay, you got a missing and then a badly mutilated body. And I'm just like, wow, those are the only mentions of this bar. I mean, I realize it's early internet days, but still.
I think there at least be like an advertisement.
Yeah, something. I don't know. Like just a
new bar open.
Here's our address. Here's where to find us. I don't know, something. This is just an awkward scene. Like I spoke about the chemistry trying to form. I feel like this is just the chemistry just isn't working for me here. In this scene. There's something off, and there's like an edit here, and I can't not mention it because it bugs me every time I see it. But there's an edit here when Doyle goes to take over on the computer, and Angel asks, how did you pick up computer skills? Cordelia makes the comment, downloading pictures of naked women. And then there's a comment there, Doyle says, well, that's more or less accurate. And then the longest pause of just Cordelia's face, but she's not even really reacting to anything that makes sense for her to react to justify that long of a close-up on just her face.
Yeah.
It's just like when they were editing, they were like, we have no other good footage. We'll just put Charisma on there. She's pretty. They figure out that stuff, and then they're going to split up again. Doyle and Cordelia is going to continue to research, and Angel's going to go back to the bar to see if he can meet a killer. So you remember that bar that we spent so much time in?
Yeah, we're going back to it.
We're back there.
Back to the bar. And guess who he runs into at the bar? Or at least on his way to the bar. It's Kate.
Yay,
again.
Kate.
And he basically tells her she can't go in the bar tonight. And she's like, well, where are you going? And he says, in there. And she tells him to go to hell. Which I still don't really get why she thinks that he's the killer. And she seems real upset about him not being interested in her when she's literally undercover.
Yeah, like
I don't get there either.
This is the problem that I'm having. Cause like I want to believe this idea of like her always being like, oh yeah, I'm the undercover cop, and I know that there's been a string of something here, and but like she's just kind of like way into Angel.
Yeah,
which I get it. I see what he looks like. But still, like, I don't know what the balance is here as far as how much of her is working and how much of her is her, like, just being out. But one thing I will notice that always confused me is that whenever you see her with a drink, it always just seems to be some kind of clear liquid. Like she's just drinking like a club soda or something. Like she's not actually drinking alcohol.
Well, because she's undercover.
Because she's undercover would be the assumption. But like this whole thing with the Angel and the jealousy and the go to hell and all of that stuff just doesn't feel like undercover Kate.
Yeah.
That just feels like Kate being upset with this guy that she was flirting with.
And that he doesn't want her to go back to the club.
Yep. So anyway, she goes in, sits down, asks for the usual. Angel kind of lurks in behind and sits further down the bar, and she's just, again, very upset, and then turns to the blonde to her left and says, God, you know, some guys have real problems. And it turns out, oh no, it's Sharon. She's a killer.
Are you going to tell us about it?
I don't know. Are you going to tell us about it?
Well, because she says the second time, doesn't she?
Where does she say it?
She says, I need to feel connected.
Yeah, that's not
Sharon.
the exact phrase, though. I'm looking for make a connection.
See, I'm curious as to how many times it's said without the exact phrasing.
Like every other line.
Yeah. Okay, so not the exact phrase, and she says, I need to make a connection. Anyway, she's coming on to this guy real strong, who is supposed to be geeky, nerdy type guy, which they basically have him in a weird hairstyle and a polo shirt to make him seem that way.
Mm-hmm. Again, this is how you make people unattractive.
And then you hear some guy ask the bartender if he's seen Kevin, and the bartender's like, no, can't remember a night he wasn't here working the early birds, which is like, duh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they talk about how he wasn't at work, so he's missing. And we go back to Angel's apartment, and Doyle and Cordelia are researching, and they have a little talk about demons. Okay, so I have watched this episode several times. Did they have a conversation about demons? And Cordelia talks about how disgusting they are?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I, for the life of me, cannot remember this scene.
You just block it out of your memory. Which is funny, because, like, that line that you said before, the coming for the early birds, I'm not sure that's in the actual episode. I think that might be in the script that you're reading, but I'm looking through my like transcript of the episode, and I don't see that. He just says that he didn't come into work that day.
Oh, okay.
So they cut that out, but that is gross. That when you mentioned that, like, I had a visceral reaction when you said that. And I was just like, I don't remember that in the episode. And then I looked closer, but yeah, they just basically say that, you know, he went and hooked up with someone, and that's when Angel says, "What girl?"
Yeah, I somehow managed to find half of the actual script online, and it's only half. Like, it only goes to the end of Act 2.
That's so weird.
And then I go to the transcript, which is probably what you have.
That's so weird.
So I found half of it. And it's the same way with the next episode of Buffy, The Harsh Light of Day. I've only got half of the actual script, and then I have to go to a transcript. It's weird. And I could not, no matter how much I searched, I could not find the whole thing. So yeah, anyway, Cordelia and Doyle are sitting next to each other, and Cordelia's talking about how gross demons are. And Doyle is like, well, not all of them. Some demons can be nice, and points to a picture in a book that is Doyle's kind of demon, and makes a comment of, ew, how could you imagine this one touching you? And yeah, Doyle is very obviously not happy about that.
Oh, so that might be different. I don't know. Like,
okay, so that's what I said. I cannot remember that conversation.
Yeah, like, so they talk about demons, and she's just like, ew, demons are gross. But she shows a picture of a demon with
intestines
around his head. But that's not the type of demon Doyle is.
No, but after that, Doyle says, well, you know, it really depends. Some demons can be nice. You just have to get to know them. And Cordelia says, no thanks, and shows a new picture and says, ew, check out this one. And it's an artist illustration of Doyle's breed of demon.
Oh,
and Cordelia says, could you imagine being touched by that?
That one was cut out. That part was cut out.
Yeah.
She just says, I've met a lot of demons, and slime aside, not a lot going on.
Okay, yeah. So, and that sounds familiar. But yeah, so they cut that part out. But Doyle sighs and sulks off and says, could you imagine being touched by that? Mocking her.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's all been cut out. Okay, so there was part of that was cut out. We got there. We figured it out. We're professionals. Yeah.
So then we're back in the bar again.
Yay! I missed it so much.
It's been so long.
So they're talking about Sharon, and that's who Kevin went off with. And this other guy is just like, oh man, bottom of the barrel. God. She's like, she wears plain clothing. The bartender's like, she's here tonight, but haven't seen Kevin. And then starts to point out to where she is, because apparently we're just going to give this random guy, you know, who appeared the night before, all this information. There's a reason this bar is unsavory. And realizes at that point that she's already left for the night with another guy, and Angel's asking about her last name, and that's when the guy who was putting her down earlier is just like, it's Richler. And Angel goes off, and then he has to confess that he's asked her out a couple of times.
Okay, hold on. The bartender makes this comment when they're looking for her and she's gone. And she says, he says, she was just here a minute ago getting it on with some Screech. Man, that's 2 scores in a row for her, which gross. But also, can we, oh my gosh, does that not date this episode or what?
Yeah.
Getting it on with some Screech. I'm like, oh my gosh.
So yes, Angel goes to the nearby phone book that's just chilling there. That also
dating the episode.
And he
like a lot.
He flips through, finds her name, and then pulls the page that she's on, and it sees him like rush off as you see that Kate was watching him in the background. And then we have more awkward post-coital.
Yeah, like all the sex in this episode is very awkward.
Yeah, it's very not good.
This demon is really bad about picking people he has no she.
Yes.
The demon has no chemistry with.
Well, when your end goal is to just get to sex as fast as possible so that you can transplant yourself into them, chemistry's not that important.
This demon is looking to make a connection.
Just want to make a connection.
It's not about meaningless sex.
So, yeah, they have their own little exchange.
At least Sharon does not ask Glenn if she could just hold him for a little while.
She's just like, roll over. And he's like, okay, after apologizing profusely about how bad it was. And then he starts to say, this is nice. And then this is when it's revealed that it's some kind of demon that's like bursting from Sharon's chest and then going into, I'm just going to call him the Screech. The Screech is back.
It says in the episode that his name is Glenn.
Glenn.
Not the episode, the script.
All right, Glenn. Glenn's back. So this is happening, and Angel like bursts through the apartment door, which is fine because Sharon's dead, I guess. So like he can get through the door. But like, what was his plan if he wasn't invited and he just drop kicked a barrier?
That's a good point.
He just
kind of assumed this guy was already dead.
Burst through the apartment door full force, not knowing whether or not he could get in.
It could have been launched backward very, very forcefully.
It could have been a bad time. So yes, Angel comes in, sees that Sharon is laying dead, and then he looks over and sees the demon like fully burrowing into Glenn's back. He turns around and looks at Angel and says, "You're not human." And Angel says, "Newsflash, pal. You're a bit off the evolutionary chart yourself." And I'm just like, oh, these one-liners, these zingers.
Yeah, they're still. And then
Angel, you can't be Buffy. You can't be Buffy. It doesn't work.
Yeah, no.
It's not your strong suit.
Comments, "You can see me," which is weird.
He what?
It's in the script. It says, "You can see me." I don't remember it in the episode.
It's not in the episode. What a weird... I wonder if they originally thought that it was going to have a different power. Or maybe the demon is supposed to be invisible when it... But, like, does it describe it as a wormy thing that comes out of the chest and then goes into the back just previously? What is it? How does that scene play out? Let's rewind a little bit.
A withered, wormy demon thing emerges.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's how it's described.
I don't understand the "you can see me" line.
I don't either. It makes no sense, and it's never explained.
Well, they cut it in the episode because they realized it didn't make sense.
Yeah. Basically, Glenn explains that he can't stop until he finds the one he can stay with, the one that feels right. He doesn't say this, but we're led to believe he's looking for the one he can make a connection with.
Yeah, I'm getting that. I'm feeling what you're putting down.
So basically, they fight.
Mm-hmm.
Then we see Kate in the doorway, and she comes in and looks around, and Glenn's already taken off, so it's just Angel there.
Yep.
And
Angel and
she looks around, and he says,
"Dead Sharon."
Things aren't always what they look like. Then she shows him a gun and a badge and says a lot of that going around, and I'm just like you really had time, Kate. You just followed him there, you know.
Oh, man.
He didn't have, time to kill her.
Yeah, like, truth. Like, what has he been there, like, a full 60 seconds?
Right, and then she's right behind him, and does he really think... And she saw him fighting with someone. Like, she literally saw it. It's like she put it in her head the first time that they met, which was like literally 24 hours before, that he was the killer and nothing that happens is going to change her mind.
Yeah. What I'm gathering here is don't reject Kate. Because she'll arrest your ass. She does mention that she's been tracking him since last night. We get a touch of it when she's talking about, like, he's explaining that you don't know, you didn't see, and she says, what I see is the carving job of an impotent sicko, which maybe I don't even understand. Like, maybe she thought that he did this, but if she'd been tracking him all night, I don't understand any of this.
She knows that he didn't.
Yeah, like, it doesn't...
And how does she think he carved a entire hole through someone's body?
Yeah, like...
that quickly.
Yeah, but... But she does say it's frustrating, isn't it, not being able to connect. So we get that line at least. It's a reverse of what it is, but man, again, hammering home that idea. But yeah, like, I had not even thought about just how little time Angel had been in that apartment for Kate to come in and be like, you're the killer, there's the body, this all makes sense. And I'm just like, if you've really been tracking him since last night, when would he have possibly had time to do this?
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if maybe she thought it'd been a day or two, but the body's gotta still, well, maybe the body's not still warm if the demon's like
a demon
possessing a dead body. Yeah. But the fact that she saw this lady at the bar, like, she looked at her directly and was just like, God, guys, right?
Talking to her.
Yeah.
And then didn't she see Angel and Glenn fighting?
I don't know on that.
While they're fighting?
I don't remember that. I think she came in after.
Maybe she didn't.
Maybe they fixed that in post.
I know it sounds like I have not watched this episode to prepare for the podcast, but I promise I did. It's just been like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. It's been a minute. I watched it a couple days ago, but honestly, like, I watched it while I was doing other stuff, and so I'll be the first to say that my memory is probably failing me on some of this, but I don't think she saw them fight. But the fact that she's carved up in the way she is, and it's the same girl that she just saw the night before, seems like she should be able to put this together and be like, wait a second. He did not have enough time to do that. I was literally tracking him up until the minute before.
Well, it's not even the night before. She just saw her that night, right?
I guess. I don't know. It's weird. The lighting in this episode's also really weird.
Sharon was talking to Glenn,
but she's
at the bar, and Kate...
So when she says, I've been tracking you since last night, that means the first night they went to the bar?
Yeah.
I thought she'd been tracking him since she saw him rip the phone book. This makes no sense.
Right, but like that just happened that night. Like, she saw Angel outside of the club.
I was thinking it was,
and he asked her not to go in.
I was thinking it was like the next morning before Angel made it to the apartment.
No, I think he was, it was like immediately after she talked to the girl and said some guy, like talking about some guys, and then Angel right after that asked the bartender about Sharon.
Yeah, because it's still night, isn't it?
She just left, and Angel got the phone book and followed her, and Kate followed him. So this has been like minute, however long it took Angel to get to her house.
So she has been tracking him since, that is confirmed, that she immediately thought Angel was the killer. It wasn't just like implied. It was like she has been from the night before tracking him. What are you doing, Kate? Your illogical
why
jumps.
Do you think this? Yeah.
Like, you can't make, you don't have the cred to make these kinds of bold leaps. You know, only Buffy gets to do this.
Right?
Because Buffy's consistently right as well.
And we can tell you're not consistently right because you just thought it was Angel.
Even though it makes no sense. Oh my God. That's hilarious. Okay. All right. I'm piecing it all together. Wow. This is a rough episode. Wow. This episode makes no damn sense. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay, Kate's gonna arrest Angel, but he gets away because he's, got super strength and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so he bails out of there.
He apologizes first.
He does say sorry.
He tells her he's sorry for it.
And then we're at Cordelia's awful apartment. Ugh, we're only gonna have to deal with this so long, but still, it's just the worst. And Doyle is quick to comment on it, saying that I thought girls were supposed to like pretty things. And she mentions that basically Angel told them to go there so that they could hide out. Doyle finds one of Cordelia's bras, and Cordelia just has the best line of, that is just so high school.
Cordelia wears bras. Ooh, she has girl parts.
Eventually, Angel shows up, and also, after getting the invite in, which is another one of those sloppy, we gotta explain this whole thing to where Doyle says, invite him in. As long as you're alive, vampires, they can't cross the threshold. So that's what explains why Angel was able to come into the apartment the scene before. Because you're alive, but Sharon wasn't alive. Did I get that? Is that what I'm supposed to explain? Is that good? Cool. So Angel gets invited in, and then he kind of talks about Kate and how she's a cop and followed him and thinks that he's the killer and all of that. And then after a while, he pauses and kind of looks around Cordelia's apartment and says, you actually live here? Which is when Cordelia's like, it's not my fault maid service was interrupted. It was supposed to go home, hotel, husband.
Yeah, and at one point she says it's supposed to go home, sorority house, husband.
Oh, there you go.
It's not this episode. But I
you remember that?
Specifically remember that from some episode of Angel where she says that.
So Angel explains that he saw the demon and that it is a burrower. That's a hard word to say. Burrower.
It is hard to say.
Yeah. Which Cordelia confuses for a donkey. And then Angel explains it eviscerates its victim as it moves from body to body, and it may only be able to do it after some kind of sex act, exchange of fluids kind of thing. Now, I'm guessing later on, it seems like it doesn't actually require the sex act, because when it's in the bartender, it's trying to immediately jump into Kate without any of the exchange of fluids requirement that Angel mentions here. So it's literally
somebody.
It's just trying to make that connection, Kim.
Well, it says may. It may.
Yeah. Angel says, that's a maybe. It's just funny because it implies that the sex is a requirement, and then later on it shows that it's not really a requirement, and so it's just enjoying the sexy times before it body hops.
Yeah, I want to point out that Angel does say it may, which will explain that. But also, I think this is just such a poorly done episode that they probably didn't even think about it.
They just forgot that was something that they planted, that was required in order for the body hop to happen.
Yeah.
Angel talks about how strong it was, and he needs to know its weaknesses because it's probably going to be hard to kill. They said that they're going to work on looking it up and try to figure it out. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to go back to the bar, because we always want to go back to the bar. And Cordelia's like, what do you think it will show? And he's just like, it'll be out there. It's got to keep trying to make a connection. Oh, and she says, why? And he says, because that's what lonely people do. This is probably the subtlest of Buffyverse episodes. I'm really not sure what the message is that they're going for here.
Yeah, I don't get it either. They need to explain a little more.
I need a little bit more detail. I need at least a couple more moments here where it kind of lays it all out for me. So, montage time? You good for some montage time?
We have Kate stepping into Angel's office to search it, and Angel walking around looking at people who are eating dinner. Kate looking into Angel's refrigerator. Angel looking at people some more. Then we have the demon and a girl laying together on a bed, and the parasite moves out of him to go into her. And then Kate looks at the weapons in Angel's house, and then see the long-haired girl who is now the demon looking out a window. Then we see Angel walking down the street. And it says that it's awfully bright, but according to Josh, it was supposed to be still pre-dawn, and they got it wrong.
I think you're reading from the exact same transcript that I am, and this is hilarious.
It might be because I had trouble finding one.
Oh,
so
yeah.
There might not be many out there.
Yeah. So I always thought like it was lit in such a way that it was clearly supposed to be like early in the day and maybe just like still overcast or the sun was low enough in the horizon. And I was just like, it's Spike logic. You know, sometimes vampires can walk in the daylight. It's fine. So during this entire montage, we do have a song playing. It's Touched by Vast, which is a really like excellent song. Like I've listened to it a couple of times at this point, and I really like it. But this is my point of stopping and saying this entire episode takes place at a bar, and there's a ton of songs in this episode. Most of them are just like electronic dance numbers that are playing in the background. But there's like 11 songs at least that I've found in this episode, and I'm just like, you know what? We're not going to list all those. But just know that pretty much anytime that they're at the bar, there's some kind of electronic dance music going on in the background. After our night of montage, Angel comes back to Cordelia's apartment. Cordelia and Doyle are asleep on the couch covered in books, get woken up when Angel enters, and Doyle asks if he had any luck, and he says no. He says he knows he can recognize it if he saw it in another body. So maybe that's what they were going for with the weird "you can see me." So he can always tell that it's the demon, but he couldn't until that first moment because clearly like he was at the same bar looking towards Kate, who was right next to the demon. The night that he was told that he could see the you know what? We're just going to go with it.
Just go with it.
Yeah, Angel can tell who's the demon. He just knows.
By looking.
Because reasons.
Well, yeah.
Cordelia says that they figured out who it is somehow, and it's like some like super ancient demon. It's super strong, all that stuff. She says it's a parasite. It moves from body to body, and when it leaves one, not gonna gag here, but the first one goes kaplooey pretty fast. And then Doyle adds, yep, curdles like cream on a hot day. And Cordelia has what is perhaps my favorite line of the episode. And there's been some good ones.
It's so great.
But it's so, like, I believe I covered that with non-dairy kaplooey is a sentence that somebody wrote down and was just like, this is what true writing is.
Yeah.
I have achieved greatness today.
It is a great line. I mean, it just is.
It is. So Angel says he's going to need help to find this thing that he can apparently identify just by looking at it. So he's going to call in Kate, because that makes sense, because she's so trusting of him. And they're confused as well. They're like, you know, I thought we were hiding from her, but Angel's just like, we were. But she's been tracking this thing a lot longer than we have. Sure.
By like a whole night.
Sure.
Maybe.
Sure. None of, like, I mean, she's been tracking this a whole lot longer than we have. So we're going to meet at the bar that's been like the only hotspot of this demon anyway. Like, what is this episode? He calls and basically says, you know what, do whatever it'll take to feel like you're secure, but you need to come and give me like 5 minutes of your time. Let's meet at the bar at 7. And she's just like, what? And that's the whole pitch right there. I don't understand how she goes for this. I don't understand why she doesn't have several people coming with her.
Well, she goes all by herself. And he literally tells her, don't come all by yourself.
Yeah. So we're back at the bar. I've really missed this bar. I really, like, I
know, they don't show it near enough.
I was estranged for a while from this bar, and it made me sad as a person. But now we're here again. And Kate's there. We see that the bartender, you know, the one employee of this bar, comes up and asks again if she wants the usual, and she's opens her badge and shows it to him, and he's just like, well, that's not your usual.
Sorry. It's just so great though.
Yeah. She basically says that she's looking for Angel. She describes him as tall and nice looking. And he's just like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, the vampire.
Yeah, that one.
I'm right.
So, like, here's my thing. This is the demon, right? In the bartender.
Uh-huh.
And she says, hey, I'm looking for the guy that, like, can identify you. And so, like, does that more motivate him to want to body hop into her, or make it make more sense that he wouldn't want to have anything to do with her? Like, again, confusion. But anyway, he says, yeah, you bet. I'll look out for him. And then he walks off, and she sits at this table, and we have this guy come in, and this is the shortest misdirect that has ever existed in any television show ever. He comes in, he gives that same line of, God, I hate places like this. So you're just like, there's your demon. That's your demon. And then literally they exchange like 2 lines. And then the bartender comes back. He's like, I found the guy you're looking for. And they leave. And then immediately we see that the bartender's the demon. It's just like 3 seconds of a misdirect.
Yeah. No other point.
That's just it. So the bartender's the demon. He invites her into the back alley because he says that that's where Angel is, and immediately smacks her.
She's so determined that Angel is the killer.
Yeah.
That she does very, very not so smart things for a cop.
Yeah.
Follows him immediately, like, turns around, call this number, tell the sergeant I need, and then gets hit in the head. Straight
up, like, you were told to meet this guy here. Why is now the time you need backup? Why not arriving there?
Yeah.
It wasn't like you didn't, you knew he was gonna be there. Anyway, the bartender knocks her out. The demon knocks her out, and immediately starts to try to do the body hop without any fluids being exchanged. And Angel runs in and tries to wake up Kate, pulls her out of the way as the bartender tries to slam like an entire keg down on them, which demon's strong.
Yeah, and also, it mentions in the transcript several times that he's stronger than Angel.
I guess so. And then we can see that the skin is starting to like peel, like he's starting to come apart at the seams, I think is Angel's exact words. And they exchange a few more blows, and again, Angel is having a hard time fighting him. Eventually, what happens? Kate gets in there somehow, and he throws Kate at Angel, and then they fall down, and then the bartender leaves and slams the door shut. I'm trying to remember, does Kate ever see him to where he's like sloughing off his skin?
No, she does not.
She does not.
I don't think she does.
No, I think she
thinks he's just a regular human serial killer.
At the end, and he's burnt to the crisp. So like, I was just trying to remember. Okay, so it looks like basically in the fight, Angel gets tossed down into this storeroom, and then Kate's tossed in after him, and then he closes them in and locks them down there, and they're just like, we can't let him get away. And Angel's like, well, he's not gonna leave, he's gonna kill again, he has to. And then we get one of my, like, it's gross, but it's also like super satisfying to me, and this makes me question myself, but when he looks in the mirror, the bartender, and he takes his like piece of hanging flesh, and then he just kind of pats it gently back in place.
Yeah.
It's super gross, I get it, but also like it just goes in there so nicely.
Yeah, but then it's super frustrating when it starts coming off.
Yeah, when it starts hanging again later, I don't like it as much. But like that moment where he's just like pat pat pat, and I'm just like, oh, you fixed it. And then we get more awkwardness.
Yeah, he goes through the club desperately trying to hit on anybody. It's very awkward, and he starts with the first one. So I've been noticing how gracefully you move, and I was wondering, would you like to dance or something? Because I wish I could move like, and then leaves. And then there's another one where he tries to hit on her with the color of her dress, and says it brings out the color of your skin. And then asks what if she wants a drink, because, I'm like the bartender here. I want to make a connection.
Yep, there it is.
There it is.
There it is.
It's the whole time he's doing this, trying to like hit on anybody at all. He's progressively looking worse and worse.
Yeah,
like, getting more and more zombie-like.
Yeah.
And while this is happening, we're cutting back and forth to Angel and Kate trying to get out of the room. And Angel tells her we're going to go out of that window. And Kate says almost 30 feet up. And he pulls out some kind of Batman gadget.
Is the first Angel gadget of the episode.
Yeah,
I missed him so much.
He shoots it up there and aims it at a support beam. And then the beam falls when he tries to pull on it.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of look at each other, and Kate bends down and gets her gun and shoots the lockout of the actual door. And I'm like, why didn't you do that already? Why were you just waiting for that? But then we cut to the bartender, and he's still trying to find somebody, and he basically just gives up and decides to kidnap someone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to make a connection anymore. Just come on.
Yeah. Which, I don't want to linger on this too long, but there is obviously a theme of sexual assault that can also be read in the way that this demon works. And it gets
definitely there's no informed consent.
Yeah, it gets a lot. It gets a lot more aggressive with that towards the end. Knocking out Kate, kidnapping this girl, like that's very blatant, a theme that is touched on with the way that this demon works. But it's not something I don't think it's a theme that they were really playing up a lot, but it's obviously there. So I feel, that it needs to be mentioned, but there's also going to be a lot of that to discuss in both the run of Angel and Buffy. So we'll save those kind of conversations for later on with lots of trigger warnings. But yes, he grabs this girl and takes her to the alley. Angel catches up, though. They've both made it out of the bar, and him and Kate split up, and he catches up, stops the demon before he can harm the girl, and tells her to run, which she does, and they have their fight. So there's just this thing that happens anytime that you see like an urban setting on TV or in the movies or something that I really, I don't feel like is as common as they make it out to be, but like burning barrels is just a thing.
In the middle of the city.
Yeah, it's just a thing that apparently exists at all times. But there's a burning barrel there conveniently. It was mentioned earlier during their research that they found out that the demon is weak against fire. So, convenient burning barrel here. And as they're fighting, the demon starts to look like it's going to get Angel into the barrel, but Angel slips away, and they have their back and forths, and then eventually the demon runs into the barrel and catches himself on fire. He's still going, though, still trying to get to Angel, but then several gunshots are heard as Kate has made it to them and is shooting the demon down, and it, burns to basically a crisp. There's not going to be a great, I don't know what happens in a dissection of that. Is there a demon just hanging out in there? Hopefully it's burnt enough to where it's not going to be too many questions, or the initiative's just going to come in and sweep it all in the rug. Some government entity is going to be like, nothing happened here. This is nothing of your concern. We'll take it from here. But yeah, that's the showdown. And thank you, conveniently located burning barrel.
Yes.
Without you, our heroes would be dead.
Possibly, because they were getting their butts kicked.
Yep. So Kate and Angel are there in the aftermath. You got everybody paramedics, firefighters, other cops, just chilling. It's a very casual crime scene where everybody's just kind of walking around and discussing as need be. And Kate says it all seems to add up. The bartender was connected to everyone. So yes, just a normal dude.
But no, he wasn't. He was looking for a connection.
The demon was. The bartender wasn't. Bartender didn't care about people.
Good point.
And Angel says it's hard to get to know people. And they thank each other for saving each other's lives and all that stuff. Very
professional,
above board. There was no hurt feelings. I didn't have a crush on you. I don't know what you're talking about. And then she just drops the bomb on by the way, I searched your place illegally.
No warrant.
No, just did it.
Because why would you just say that? He's going to get you arrested now.
Oh, he has to say, he's like, why are you telling me this? And she says so we can have a fresh start. No secrets.
Yes, she has a crush.
Then Angel starts to hand her the card, and then she identifies it as a lobster.
Yeah, it's an angel. It looks like an angel. I don't get it.
And it just at a certain point, when she says that, he just kind of takes the card back.
He's done.
He's just maybe
you don't
maybe
need my
not.
number after
maybe
all.
Not.
Yeah, you don't need my number.
So another officer or somebody with an official sounding voice shouts for Detective Lockley from off screen, and this is when we actually see the angel vanishing, where he just steps out of frame and suddenly he's gone.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah,
she looks back at the place he was and doesn't think to look slightly right to see where he's walking off. No, she's just oh, he's vanished. He's gone forever.
Yeah.
What a mysterious veterinarian. And then we're back at the office. Angel is pacing, talking about how Doyle and Cordelia have been cooped up inside a lot, and that he was thinking that to show his appreciation that they could go out for some fun night out. And this is when Cordelia and Doyle give him the greatest gift that they could ever give him, which is for them to just go home and to leave Angel to be his dark, broody self. And he's so happy.
Yes. He's like, yeah, I'm good with that.
He's like giddy to sit in the dark and brood about Buffy, because that's what he's brooding about.
Well, yeah. That's the episode.
So I feel like there's a motto to this episode, but I'm having trouble connecting.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
What could it be? That was fun. We're gonna get back to Buffy next episode. We got
light of day.
We got a familiar character returning.
A favorite.
Someone I'm very excited about. They're blonde. They're beautiful. They're a vampire. It's Harmony. It's Harmony that I'm talking. I was like Harmony.
Well, her too.
Harmony's great. Oh, but yeah, we'll be back.
Harmony as I could not stand Harmony as a regular character. I love Harmony as a vampire.
Harmony as a vampire is like top tier.
Especially when Harmony becomes her own vampire on season 5.
Oh, man. I'm so excited. All right.
Yeah.
I was not lying. That is who I'm excited to see. Like, Spike's fine. Yeah, he's okay.
No, I was excited to see Spike. I'm excited to see Spike. Always.
All right. Well, this has been our podcast, and we thank you so much for listening. And this is where we say bye.
Bye.